is, let me get, this is here is CNIT 123. Let me get the right page up. All right. So, as is ethical hacking and network defense, I'm Sam Bound, and I'm the instructor of record, but Elizabeth is going to actually be the one running the class. I'm just sort of meaningless figurehead, although if you have any questions, I'm easy to reach. You can reach me on this Twitch channel from Monday to Thursday at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday at 2:30. So I'm happy to help anybody with any questions as they come up. But Liz is the official teacher. She's more of an expert in this stuff than I am. I originally wrote this course a long time ago, but Liz was a competitor on the first pen testing team, and she thought this is wonderful, and she became a teacher just to be the coach of the team. And our competition teams have done very well under her coaching, and she also is in charge of this class. So I think I'll just pass it on to you, Liz. Go ahead and tell them what you want to tell them about this class. I think you're on mute or something.
I am just fixing some stuff here right now. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the kickoff session here for ethical hacking and network defense. We'll have the Canvas course populated here today, possibly by the end of this meeting. I'm actually working on getting that set up right now, and as Sam mentioned, we do still have a competition team here at CCSF, so I would like to encourage everybody to consider joining that now or in the future. It's a good time. Caitlin has also been a valued member and team captain at points of our competition team, and it's a lot of fun. This course is a really good intro into some of the techniques that you might use, and a good opportunity for folks to try out some of the techniques, learn some of the skills that are used in competitions, and it's a good time. So somebody said, how do we join? Are there tryouts per se? There really aren't tryouts. Typically, the fall is when we run the collegiate penetration testing competition, and usually there will be notices up on Sam's page when we start forming a team. There's a Discord that I can send out a link to for everybody, so you can join the Discord. That's a good way to connect with team members. And then there are folks who are forming teams throughout the year. So last couple of years, we've had a very active NCL team here on campus, and that's a good way to dive in. So there are all these students who are on the Discord setting up teams, joining competitions, etc. And I will drop a link in the Twitch chat here for that. And then I will also give the link to that. I'll give Sam an current invite link to that Discord so that he can put it up on his website for anyone who would like to join. So as far as the way the class works, if I can share screen here just a second. You'll see in the course that actually, let me finish setting this up here, and then I'll go through it with everybody here in a second. Before we do that, I'd like to maybe hand it over to Caitlin for a little bit to talk to you folks, and we can circle back around. In maybe 20 minutes and pull up the course page if that's okay.
We can absolutely do that. Only 20 minutes?
Or okay. Longer, however you want, actually.
Okay.
So whenever is good.
Okay, so yeah, we can circle back. Definitely, there are going to be times where we're going to have some downtime, so we can circle back in those times. So I was one of Elizabeth's students and one of Sam's students many years ago at this point, and I loved these classes so much so. In fact, I wound up in these classes sort of by accident. The class I wanted to take was full, and I saw this thing called exploit development and hacking and stuff. I was like, well, that sounds really funny. I'll take that class. And it ended up just absolutely changing my life. So I always liked puzzles. And when I found hacking puzzles, I was like, these are the best puzzles ever created. This is just so much fun. And now for a living, I hack into computers. Actually, what I do is I work for Amazon, and I work specifically on the Kuiper satellite networks because I have an interest in astronomy and space exploration and that kind of stuff. So I sort of put two and two together, and so now I work on computers in space. So let me check the Twitch chat. Yes, Canvas. Will Canvas be part of CCS? Yes. Okay, and so anyway, my advice to anyone getting in to this field or anyone starting out is to start practicing right away. You are going to be introduced to so many technologies. There's like a few software programs that are used all over the place, except you probably never even heard of them before, like DynamoDB. It's a very popular database for like gathering data. Most people haven't used that before in their lives. There's a lot of server software that's running on a lot of systems, like PHP, Apache, that kind of stuff. And you really have to be familiar with all of them and know how to find exploits and get in there and have a lot of fun. And so to start off, I always tell students, start hacking right away. Don't wait till the week 2. Don't wait till week 3. Just get hacking now. That is the most important thing you can do. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I can figure out what to do here. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to install Kali Linux. Kali Linux is a Linux distribution specifically for penetration testing. And you're going to go either on 2 websites. It's going to be either Try Hack Me or it's going to be Hack the Box. And I'll show it on the screen here.
Caitlin, why is Kali good for hacking?
It has a whole bunch of tools built in that a lot of the CTFs expect you to have. So actually, I should say, at work, I don't use Kali. But when I'm doing CTFs or anything that's designed to be hacked, I go to Kali because everyone sort of assumes that you're using Kali. So you have the tools and everything installed. And if you go up here to the sort of start menu in Kali, you'll see here we have information gathering, vulnerability analysis, web application analysis, database assessment, including a tool you will love called SQL Map. We'll get into that later in the class. Password attacks, so you can run brute force attacks on passwords. Wireless attacks, which is always a lot of fun. I always love doing wireless stuff. I'm a big radio person, so I have an extra class ham radio license, and anytime I get to do any radio stuff, I'm super happy. There's reverse engineering, which is a big part of hacking, is figuring out what software is doing. Let's see, exploitation tools, we always love those. Metasploit Metasploit, there it is something you will become very familiar with. Let's see, sniffing and spoofing. Probably. And then post-exploitation, which we'll get into. All right, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get into hacking. So I found a box earlier that looks good. And I've never done this before. So this is the most live demo of live demos anyone has ever done. So completely untested. I don't know the solution to this, but it is on Try Hack Me. It's called Blog, and it's highly rated. So to do this yourself, you would get a Try Hack Me account, and you can work with Sam and Liz if you don't have one. They can figure out a way to get you access, I'm sure. Or contact me too. I can help get you access. And you go on to Try Hack Me, and you can search for exercises, right? And the goal of this exercise is to hack into a computer. And Try Hack Me is really good for people just starting out. And so they throw boxes up on what is essentially a VPN, a private network, and you go on there and you try to hack in. You try to get a user password or a user flag, which is a string of text that proves that you've got user access, and then you usually after that try to get a root flag, which is a piece of text saying you got root. And root is just the super user, so you've got complete access to everything. So when you start a box, you'll have an IP address, and that's it. And this one has a little backstory. So Billy Joel made a blog. It's going to be awesome, and we're going to have to enumerate the blog and find the two flags. And so enumeration is the name of the game, especially when you start off with a box. You don't know anything about it. So the first program you're going to run is called nmap. And I actually already ran it because it does take a while to run. But for those that don't know, you would run a command like this, which is a sudo nmap -ss, meaning we're doing a SYN scan. So instead of, if you remember your old like TCP handshakes, it goes SYN, SYNAC, ACK. You can speed things up if you do SYN, and then the server does SYNAC, and then you know that it's open, right? Oh, okay. I thought Liz was going to say something. And then there's
one thing I wanted to back up and say here is I'm seeing some of the questions in the chat, and
yes.
it looks like we have this question frequently every semester. Some folks who are joining the class who are new to VMs. They so essentially when we're running these virtual machines, we're running them locally inside of a hypervisor on the computer. So a hypervisor is a program like VMware or VirtualBox. Now, if you're unable to install a hypervisor on your computer so that you can run VMs, you can also set up cloud virtual machines.
Correct. And yes, I can tell you right now, you will want to be able to install either VMware and you can get VMware, I think, cheaply through the college, or you can go with something like VirtualBox, which is open source software, which will run Kali. But you do want some sort of virtualization product to run Kali on your box. You can try running it on pure metal, but most people use a virtual machine. And let's see, so a lot of comments are coming in. I want to read it. So let's see, so we have the Team Link Gamer CCSF University server where we can install Kali on a VM. So there are no servers, but the labs do allow you to use the computers, and most of them already have Kali ready to go. And so you can absolutely use the computers at CCSF. Do we install this now on our? Yes, install Kali now if you don't have it installed. It's absolutely a must. Please do. One user says they have a technician license. Very good. Ham radio users unite. Let's see. Vena Wintersadder. Is Kali required, or can we use Ubuntu and the tools from Kali in there? That's a good question. You technically can use Ubuntu. Does that mean it's wise to use Ubuntu instead of Kali? Probably not, because like I said, most ETFs assume you're running Kali, and Kali in particular has a few tweaks to the kernel that make it easier to do things like wireless hacking. Now, I don't. There's no reason why you can't use Ubuntu, but Kali is currently based off of Ubuntu. So there's very few reasons why you would want to not use Kali or you use Ubuntu over Kali for hacking, but you can. Let's see. Yes, Super Shibe says, yeah, you probably want to stick with Kali. Let's see. Elizabeth. Venom Wintersadder. Okay. Yes. Oh, so you don't burn the battery in your laptop. So yeah, battery lives in laptops are pretty tough to come by. So VMs don't use a ton of power. In fact, you can do some tweaks to the VM to make it so that you actually use less power running applications in a VM than on your host. So for people that don't know, a VM is different from an emulator. An emulator takes or creates a virtual set of virtual environment, let's just say, and it reads in code for one system, and then sort of tries to figure out what the equivalent code would be on the current system, and then executes it. What a VM does is slightly different. So your CPU usually has extensions like VTX and stuff like that, where the operating system acts like a piece of hardware. And so you're not doing any code translation, and there's very little overhead to using a virtual machine. So it runs almost like 98% as fast within a virtual machine as it does on real hardware. And in fact, when you get into very advanced virtual machine setups, you can actually pass in like PCI devices. So you can run like your NVIDIA 4090 within a virtual machine. I mean, it's really just like it's a dream within a dream is the best way to put virtual machines. So they don't necessarily take a lot of energy, so you can conserve your battery, and you can say the virtual machine should only have like one core, only use one core, and so the software on it will actually be restricted to use less power than software running on like the host operating system. So, but yeah. That was a bit of a tangent. Let's see, do we have any other questions? So essentially, we're working off the install. Yes, you'll be doing a lot of your work off of an installed Kali Linux box. And let's see. I'm currently out of the country. Can I email if I have questions? Absolutely. I'll email. You can email me, even though I'm not an instructor, but you can email Sam and Liz if you have questions about Kali.
I just dropped the Poly link in the chat.
Is there a particular recommendation for VMs for us to use? If you can get a hold of VMware, I recommend VMware, although it costs money, and that's the problem.
No.
So, I was a student once. I know what a problem costing money can be.
Well,
so,
wait a minute. The free versions of VMware are fine. There's now a free version for the Mac and the PC, and that's all you need.
Right. I mean, there's VMware Player, right?
Right.
So there's VMware Player.
Yeah.
And that is free. VMware Workstation, which is what I'm using, does cost money.
I think we can get it free through CCSF. I'm looking for the path to get that now.
Yeah, but if memory serves, you can get it for free through CCSF, as well as many versions of the Windows operating system, so like the server versions and stuff like that. Any software that CCSF offers for free, take it. Not because you'll need it, but because you'll want to learn it. You'll want to use it and know how it's different from other versions and stuff like that. But yes, VMware Player is free. But if you want an alternative, there's VirtualBox, which is open source software, which is honestly really great software. I cannot praise VirtualBox enough. And it's completely free. So either works for Kali. I mean, if you want to use VirtualBox, go ahead. Although I would recommend VMware, just because that's what you're going to see in the industry. You're going to see a lot of what are called ESXi servers and VMware-based solutions in the workplace. Let's see, more questions. So once we install Kali, VMbox, it'll boot. So what you do, and you can work with Sam on this, you install the VMware hypervisor, like VirtualBox. In this case, I'm running VMware Workstation. And then you install the Kali operating system within VMware or VirtualBox. If you want help, if you want help, message. I'm sure Liz and Sam will have detailed instructions for setting that up. Is there a specific place we can go to get software through CCSF? There is. I'm a former student. I don't have it. I don't have it on me right now. You might be able to get it through Sam's webpage. Sam, is it on your webpage somewhere?
I think we're no longer having those repositories of free software, but I just use the free versions of VMware. And
I'm going through the login process right now and setting up a new account to see if it will still let us do it. I already found we can get a half price version for students, but I think there's still a free version. VirtualBox all the way free.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking on VMware.
Well, there's VMware
Yeah, I
Fusion
mean,
Player and VMware Player, which are free, and they're all you really need for these classes. You don't need to spend
yeah,
any money on software for these classes.
yeah, and whatever you do, don't go to a place like kingwin.com, which has keys and product keys for products that we don't know where they came from. We don't know where they're from. But if you search for, remember, don't do this. So they have like Word for like $25, and if you search for VMware, they might. Yeah. So something fishy is going on. They have.
$2.
They have like $2 for VMware Workstation Pro at kingwin.com. Don't go there because this is obviously kind of shady, and we don't want our students, getting access to resources at a cheap price if it's shady. Yeah. So, what platform do we download from Kali? Okay, so we'll go back to Kali if you want to get started. So, if you search for Kali, you can just go to download, get Kali. There are two ways to go. So you can download the virtual machine all ready to go, which is nice. I don't do this myself, but if you have a VirtualBox or VMware, you can just download the virtual machine itself and you're ready to go. The other thing you can do, and I recommend going this route, is downloading this installer right here, and then just installing the operating system within a VM that you designed. That way you can set your username and password and sort of set it up exactly how you want. Yeah, I know, $2. Yeah, don't you do anything to further your education through means that might be questionable. And let's see. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, speaking of not furthering your education through means that might be questionable, I have a link with lots of pirated textbooks that you should definitely stay away from, and I'll drop that link in the chat so you know exactly what you need to avoid.
Exactly. Yeah. Just make sure. Yeah. If you're in need of textbooks, definitely go into debt. Definitely don't get the textbooks themselves if it means having to pirate them because we don't want our students pirating stuff. So, yes, thank you. So the students are saying they will avoid those pages at all costs. Thank you. Anyway, all right. So let's get to hacking stuff. So if you in fact, why don't I type the name of the website for you to avoid so you don't accidentally go there by accident and get cheap versions of VMware. There you go. I'm just going to copy this, put this in chat. That way you don't accidentally go there. Get VMware Workstation for $2. So, okay. So let's hack a box. So there's this box. It has this IP address. I'm assuming if you're taking this class, you know what an IP address is. And we don't know anything about it. So the first thing we do is we run a network scan on it. So we see what ports are open. And I already did that because it does take a while. And I have these outputs right here. And if we do nmap, let's do the regular output, which is nmap output. You'll see that we have a few things open. We have port 22, which is SSH. That's good. So SSH is secure shell. That's how we get in and execute stuff if we know a username and password. And they have port 80 open, which is always nice to see. And they have port 445 open, and 139, which is for Samba, which is kind of interesting. And someone mentions the San Francisco Public Library as a good resource for free study materials and perhaps even software and resources. Who knows? That's a good point. So we know port 22, 80, 139, and 445 are open, which is awesome. So what we can do is when we see port 80, the first thing we want to do is we want to open up a web browser. Now, In hacking, we don't just open a web browser. What we do is we go to Burp Suite, and we're going to proxy our traffic through Burp Suite. So Burp Suite is a tool, a application that lets you play around with web traffic and see web traffic very specifically. And when we have it open, what we can do is we can open up the proxy here, make sure intercept is off. I'm going to open up a new web browser here, and I am going to set the proxy to Burp Suite. Here we go. So all the traffic from this is going to go through Burp Suite. So we know the IP, which is from here. All right, we have this IP. It's port 80, so that's HTTP. And there's a blog here, and this is the title of the CTF is called blog, so this is what we expect, but it looks really bad. Something's going on. So let's push F12. Why isn't this loading correctly? Well, we'll reload the page. It's showing here it cannot resolve blog.htm or thm. So blog.thm, it cannot resolve. Why is that? Well, we are in a virtual environment. We don't have a DNS set. So we need to go into our Etsy host file and add it. So sudo vim Etsy.
Good question in the chat, Caitlin. Why do we do proxy?
Why do we proxy? We proxy because we can see all the traffic going through. So if we look here, we can see that we've got this page, right? We know slash, but we're also loading all this content too. Not only that, we can see what we are sending, our requests, and we can see our response and the full response, including the HTTP headers. And then what we can do, like let's say we want to alter this request, we can go to something like, and this is just scratching the surface, we can go to the repeater, and we can say instead of HTTP 1.1, how does this respond to HTTP 1.2? Just fine. Okay, how does it respond to HTTP 5.7? Something that doesn't exist. Just fine. Okay. But as you can see, we can basically send ridiculous, nonsensical requests to the server that sometimes allows us to exploit bugs, which is very good. Let's see, I'm going to read the comments. So is Burp Suite like Wireshark? It is similar to Wireshark, but it's specific to web applications. So Wireshark will look at all the traffic, right? Burp Suite will only look at or play around with web stuff. So if you're doing web stuff, Burp Suite is your go-to solution. For other things, like you're looking at slip traffic, or maybe some like you're looking at like UDP operations on some other port, Wireshark would probably be a way to go. Let's see. No HTTPS, right? Exactly, because it was port 80, so that's why there's no HTTPS. Burp Suite is a tool for web app. Yes. Thank you, Elizabeth. Is this analogous to TCP dump? No. So TCP dump is very similar to Wireshark, but TCP dump is specifically for dumping raw TCP data, or even UDP data, any sort of raw networking data. We are looking we're not looking at the raw package. We're going a level higher. So if you remember your OSI stack, you have your TCP layer, and above that you have like your application layer. And with something like Burp Suite, you are looking at the application layer. So you're specifically looking at the web and web traffic. We don't really care about the TCP traffic and stuff below that. Let's see. How long does the stream class normally run? Liz? Sam? How long does this normally run?
Well, today's orientation runs, I don't know, Caitlin will probably be on for about an hour is what it usually is. And there are going to be no more class meetings in this class. Liz, do you want to talk about that?
Sure, yeah, there are no required meetings for this class at all. There may once in a while be a session like this where we've got a special guest or someone's giving a talk or something. But there are no required meetings, and if there are going to be any special events or a lecture, it'll be up on Sam's website. So and shoot, we forgot to record this, but that's okay.
No, I'm
we
recording it.
Oh, are you? Okay, great. So, if you need to drop early, you can drop early, but there won't be any synchronous meetings for the course.
Random cat appears. Here we go.
Oh, good.
Yes, that's my. Oh yeah, get yourself a hacking buddy if you don't have one already. Any sort of cat or dog will do.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yours is pretty special.
That's true.
AstroCat is sort of the ultimate hacking buddy.
Kaz has a good one too. Kaz is another person that took this class who has a cute little hacking buddy. Anyway, so what I did is I just added this line to Etsy hosts, which says resolveblog.thm to that IP. So now when we reload the page, we should see. Now it works. Everything is working correctly. There's one thing not working here. A font's not downloading, but that's fine. So we have this website, and we want to know more about what this website is running. So once again, we're going to go over to Burp Suite. We're going to go to our history, so proxy. I did something bad. Proxy. Can I put that back? Yes, I can. Okay, so if we go here, we do a get. It responds back. We know that the server is running Apache 2.4.29 Ubuntu. So we're going to copy that, and we want to keep notes. So software enumeration. So we'll say it's running this. That's important to know. And we know that it is running. Let's see. I think it's running WordPress because I know it's WordPress because I know WP includes. So we're going to try to find the version, perhaps. Powered by WordPress. WordPress 5.0.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. WordPress 5.0. Anything else? Okay, so that's good to know. So we have two pieces of software that we have access to. We have WordPress and Apache, and they're probably running PHP too if they're running WordPress, so we'll put that up. We don't know what version of PHP. Sometimes that's in the header, sometimes it's not. GitHub. All the way to the top. Yeah, it does not say what version of PHP is running, but we want to know this information, right? Let me see if there's any more questions. I have Kali Linux open now. Any installer options I should include? Any you want. This is your Kali box. You can do a normal install. You can do any sort of install you want. That's the fun thing about hacking. You can make it all your own. So okay, so we started some enumeration of the software running. Now, when I see WordPress, the one thing I want to run is WP scan. And if we go up, I'll make this bigger so people can see what I'm doing. Let's see, dash URL. Okay. And since we have this in, we have blog.hackme. We'll put this in quotes. And then let's see, we want to look for, we're going to enumerate users. Let's see how that works. Yes, oh, absolutely update. So it updated WP scan, and it's going to the URL and it's saying it's going to find all the information we want. So yeah, indeed, it's using WordPress 5, and we have some data. So we found the upload directory has listings enabled. That's important. So we'll put this under sort of WordPress notes. Once again, so we'll go create a subfolder. We'll just actually just create a subpage here. WordPress stuff. WordPress notes. WP cron is enabled. That's good to know. Oops. Well, copy selection. Put that in here. WordPress notes. Upload directory has listing enabled. So listing is useful for us because we can see what's on the server. So if we copy the link or open the link, yeah, we can see all the uploads. Cool. Not much there. Oh, yeah, there's nothing. Oh, there's nothing. Okay. That's disappointing. We know that there's a README. That's good. We know that, yeah, we found the headers. Robots.txt, WP admin. Yeah, we know that. Okay. Let's see. WordPress 5 is insecure. WordPress theme and use is versions out of date. Enumerating users. So here we go. We have some users. We have kwheel. We'll copy that. That's important. So anytime you find a username, record that. kwheel and bjoel. We know their names, Karen Wheeler and Billy Joel. Just like the title of the, or not the title, the description of the CTF. And so we'll copy these. I think these are important. Karen Wheeler, copy selection. Karen Wheeler and Billy Joel. All right, we already have some usernames. That looks like Obsidian. Yes, I'm using Obsidian to take notes. So we have 2 usernames already, and we know their names, and we know who they respond, who they are. And so yeah, so Karen Wheeler looks like Billy's mom. Okay. Let's see. So if there is a blog and it's specific to like a topic, a lot of times I will run a tool to download all the words and make a word list out of that. But I don't think that's going to be very helpful here. But we do. There's 2 comments. Okay. Doesn't seem very interesting. So what we can do is we're sort of at an impasse. There was we've gotten some good information from WordPress. There was another thing open too that was the Samba, and so if you do lin enum, enum for lin, enum for Linux, there we go. We can get some information on the Samba running on that server. -a. Let's see, specify username. Nope. Usage here, enum options IP. Okay, and the IP is once again clipboard. See what it comes up with. Okay, so we have some stuff here. Now, this is very interesting, says Vernal Winterdaughter. That seems overwhelmed. Yes, that's why you gotta get started early. Because, like I said, like if you've never used or seen like Samba before or SMB, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. Get started early. And the best way to do that is to do exactly what I'm doing. Go to try hack me and try hacking into boxes. Okay, so we found some stuff. We found 2 domains, blog and built-in. Password info, minimum password length is 5, so it's not a very secure password on the system. It's nice to know. Password complexity is disabled. Good to know. We have some users. We have nobody. Let's see, we have blog built in. Reset accounts.
Oh, there you go.
Nobody, none. Yeah, we're slowly enumerating people, which is good. We'll let that run in the background. And actually, while that runs, Sam, this would be a good time for me to take a small break. Is there something you want to circle back to before we continue?
Yeah, Liz, do you want to talk about the?
I'm still working on it, and I'm pulling all the resources together for everybody.
Okay, let's just take a 10-minute break. You're here for an hour anyway. I'm going to stop the recording. We'll make this in chunks.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.